Smoke.
I'm gonna roll a cigarette.
What's up, guys?
Man. It's we're doing another video. We're getting video happy, I think. So
it's Tuesday.
If you don't like it, then let us know, man, because all we want is attention. We don't care if it's good, bad, negative, positive, all that fun shit. Whatever adjective you can come up with, we're not concerned. We just want a reaction, people.
We just want a reaction. And how about week 4? We're through the first quarter of the fantasy season. And I'm pleased to say a lot of teams made it to 2-2, which is pretty good. I like it. I was one of the teams looking at 1-3.
Same here, man.
Oof.
And I wouldn't have minded so much because I
do
kind of want to lose,
battle.
but at the same time, I want to lose with glory, and that's why I don't really have a smoking a hot team. I kind of want these bum guys, and if I do win, it's kind of like, well, it's gonna stick with my opponent more than if I lose.
Yeah, so right now we're going to try to be more organized with the show. We got some segments up later.
Yeah.
We got some fun games. We got some people we're going to be calling on the phone.
Trying to do more like
it's
what the experts do with the sleepers and like the fun little start 'em, sit 'em.
Universal.
We're gonna do like a trade player weight segment.
So if you get a call on Tuesday night around this time from us, you're going to be live.
We also want to start calling everyone. Fantasy. And so if you could drop your number on the comment section and the comment thread under this post.
We'll call you and we'll get you on the show.
Drop your number. Put your address, email address, social security number would be cool too as well. Credit card number, all that shit, man. We want as much information about you as we can because it'll help us get to know you better.
Anyways, I like what the state of fantasy right now. So we're gonna get in the first category once Mike's ready, and we're gonna get into stepping it up.
Well, yeah, let's. You know what? Do you want to start, or do you want?
Who's been stepping it up?
So Ken Tribble had a comment. I know he wanted to make a regarding Jordan's trade and Chuck's trade that they just made.
You really want to get into the drama right away? I guess
yes,
2 minutes
we're
in.
Start off with the drama.
All right,
and then maybe Ken can kind of be like a third wheel on this segment, or. Maybe just like a quick 10-minute conversation with the dude. Just kind of get his rationale and let him...
vent?
Yeah, let him air his concerns. Oh, what's his number again? 985-8370, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. Sounds good.
What the fuck, man?
Here, I'll just call him.
8370. No, my phone was acting weird. Let's just use the house phone. I don't think we get charged for it.
Okay.
Oh, his phone's off. Okay, so he's probably
all right. Well, hey, we were gonna bring Ken on for the trades, and we have a little fun game later called Trade, Play, or
We'll
Wait.
call him in like 15 minutes here. But so actually, let's just start off with kind of like a rundown, Aaron, of who's been doing good. Like I got a lot of people, but it's just kind of like we haven't been doing this lately. We've been just kind of focusing on the Big Money Just Time League, and sometimes we branch into the Urby Bowl Shuffle, but not so much. But anyways, we kind of, like we said, we want to do more like in general fantasy discussion. That way, when we do call someone, it's not just like in regards to their teams. It's like let's just talk fantasy. Like I want to be able to talk to people outside of our leagues about fantasy football and maybe turn this into a fun little thing. I know I'm a dreamer, but it's probably not going to happen because I'm a lazy fuck too. So yeah, let's just kind of go through like guys that have been doing good the past couple weeks, that have really stepped it up and have made a difference for any particular fantasy team out there, and guys that you should definitely know by now.
Crabtree.
Michael Crabtree. That's a good one to start with.
Stepping
it up big time.
Will Fuller.
He's been doing good.
He's kind of like basically taking all the fantasy points from
three good games.
He's sponging them all up.
25-point plus games.
Yeah, he's eating into Lamar Miller and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean,
he's making DeAndre look like the invisible man.
He's making him look like number 2. Terrell Pryor has been stepping it up.
Stepping it up, man. Good look for the people that
Coleman's absence. Yes. You said something about Kyle Rudolph quietly killing it as a tight end.
He's quiet. Yes.
Zach Miller the same way. Brian Hoyer. I like the Brian Hoyer thing. I think the Bears can't be underestimated now, and their defense is looking pretty good.
Miller. Before the season, we kind of liked Miller. Then after those first 2 weeks, it was like, and maybe we were wrong. But Hoyer has kind of made him relevant, and he's obviously.
I think Hoyer's going to make a lot of people relevant in Chicago, but we're going to talk more about Hoyer. Speaking of the Bears, Jordan Howard. I know it's been one start, but 100 yards rushing and just playing awesome. So I think as a Bears fan, we're all happy to see that Hoyer and Jordan Howard are just making it work.
We had the foresight. Just go back into the records. I was on the Howard train, and Aaron picked him up before the injury. Like, this is what we do. This is why I've been saying this league is dope, man.
We picked these guys up way before.
Even with the 6 guys last year, it was like this. Like, I don't know. You set the tone, I guess. You just got to set the tone as leaders, and people follow through, man.
Obviously, Julio Jones stepping it up, just 58 games. DeMarco Murray, where were you last year? Number one running back right now is DeMarco Murray, stepping it up. Carlos Hyde, A.J. Green, Isaiah Crowell. I guess you could say Terrence West, but Mark Ingram, Ezekiel Elliott. You know, he's starting to become a 20-point guy.
Like started off
a little slow.
Not, and especially for PPR.
Still got that touchdown though, yeah.
Yeah, he would still get double digits. It was like 12 and 15, but that's not what we were expecting from him off the bat. We wanted to see more of what he's done the past 2 weeks, scoring 20 on a consistent basis, and hopefully he keeps it up because I like Ezekiel and I like America's team.
Right.
All right, that's my new favorite
team. I think
team.
Dak Prescott makes
America's team.
Just makes you just want to root for the Cowboys. It's like, let's go.
Everyone should be a Cowboy fan in election year. Because it's America's team.
All right. Okay. Who else has been stepping it up? Dorsett, T.Y. Hilton. I guess when you're playing with Andrew Luck in the second half, things happen.
Big money.
Jordan Reed is finally getting it going. He's finally stepping it up, becoming a hot trade candidate, and we'll talk about him if you trade, stay, play, or wait. I know he's been moved around already.
Jimmy Graham. I like that. That's a good one.
We're going to talk more about him later.
2 straight games with 100 yards receiving. He's starting to look like the Jimmy Graham we thought he could be in that offense, and it's paying off for those that took the risk on Jimmy Graham. I know he was a late-round guy, but again, kind of like Rudolph, quietly emerging as, a top 5 tight end once again.
Yeah, it's cool. I really hope Jimmy Graham continues to produce, but we will talk about him in the trade, play, or stay away guys.
So, Frank, I don't know if you mentioned Frank Gore.
Actually, yeah. I didn't mention Frank Gore.
No. Right. Frank Gore quietly just
put up big numbers in the second half.
He's having a better season than Lamar Miller. Let that sink in, folks. I mean, who would have thought Frank Gore would be doing this? And he's, if he doesn't get a lot of rush yards, he gets that touchdown. Or he gets 3 or 4 yards receiving. He finds a way to produce for his fantasy owners and for that team, even though they're 1-3. But Frank Gore is a consistent commodity at this point, and his value should not be understated, but at the same time, it shouldn't be overstated as well. But for now, Frank Gore is a good look.
Yeah. I mean, especially when the Colts are always coming back. Their defense is crap. Guys, anyone playing the Colts defense could be a good look.
I wouldn't have said that before. I wasn't high on Frank Gore going into the year. I thought he was like a nice number
cheap
one.
Little RB2.
I didn't think he'd be doing this, though.
But he's actually
he's
a value. And yes, so... All right, quarterbacks. Derek Carr stepping it up.
Yes, big time. Again, a quiet... we weren't talking about him so much. I know a lot of people were high on Carr. It's not that we were down on him. It's just we prefer to talk more about like Winston and Kirk Cousins, especially me. I was kind of thinking Cousins was the man. But it turns out Derek Carr was just kind of this guy out in Oakland. He's got the receivers, and once Amari Cooper and him get that chemistry
culture brewing there.
It could even get better. That's the scary part about Derek Carr and that offense.
I like it.
Latavius Murray hasn't ran the ball.
There's a lot of fantasy action going on in Oakland.
Yes, man.
Against Oakland.
They're playing in fun games.
Yeah, so Oakland.
That Atlanta game was a fun one.
And I think the Chargers are playing Oakland this weekend.
Yes, I'm going to talk.
So we're going to talk about Hunter Henry stepping it up in Antonio Gates Stadium.
Two out of my three nut candidates for receiver this week are playing that game, the San Diego Oakland game.
Yeah, and the last guy we'll talk about, and this is a waiver pickup, guys, is Eddie Royal stepping up for the Bears.
Yeah. He's been stepping up in a big way. 3 out of the 4 games, he's got over 15
Bears
points
are playing
or double
the Colts
digits
this weekend.
Yes. We'll talk about that later too. But
all right, so that's
Eddie Rowe. Well, the funny thing is, he's not owned in a lot of leagues, so a waiver possibly.
He's worth our stash for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in the waiver
bench spot. All right, so now let's talk about falling off candidates, and this is going to be the kind of a sad tale, Mike.
Giovanni, week 1 didn't do too well.
Start off with the big one.
Okay, yeah. So Matt Forte, I say, is a pretty big one. Week 1, mildly well. I think he scored double digits. Week 2 is when he had that big money just time 3 touchdown game, 33 points. But the last 2 weeks, he's just been a disappointment for those that were led to believe he's going to be a top running back after that second week. And again, it was early, but it was looking very good for him. And all of a sudden, not so much. Especially with the news that he got carted off in the middle of that game at some point. I haven't heard anything on that at all really since then. I think they're keeping it hush-hush, or he's okay. It's nothing to worry about. But 2 out of the last 2 games, I think the guys failed to hit 15 points between those 2 games. So all of a sudden, Forte becomes a question mark. And that's concerning. We're going to talk about options, what you could do with him a little bit later on.
Trade, play, or wait.
For now, he's on the falling off candidates list because just look at the numbers. He's fallen off. Dwayne Washington, he's on here. He's not a big one. Yeah.
He got hurt. He twisted his ankle.
Okay, so the big ones. Julian Edelman's another big one. He was a guy I was really high on before the season because it's a PPR league. I mean, Julian Edelman, he's usually pretty consistent in a PPR league. Maybe that changes with Tom Brady, but for now, Julian Edelman has not looked like himself. I don't know if it's the foot injury. I don't know if it's he doesn't have the chemistry down with the backup quarterbacks. Maybe, like I said, maybe Brady comes back and that changes. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well, but again, he's on the falling off list because look at the fucking numbers. He's falling off. Shit, man.
Spencer Ware has been fumbling.
Okay,
if you get rid of the fumbles, they're not bad
outings. This isn't really organized. Let's
just say the big one. Odell Beckham is falling off.
Well, after that last game, he is.
I
didn't want to say he's falling off because he actually hasn't
hit the end zone,
but he's not being
Odell.
He's
only had one. Listen, when they ask you to change, and then when you do, they're like, well, it's not the same. It's like, well, you can't change back because you changed for them once. You know what I mean? Like, they want Odell to be, like, tame.
We could do a whole segment on Odell. I think by regular standards, Odell isn't really doing that bad. But by Odell standards, he's doing pretty bad. And that's the thing. When Odell does something, it's magnified even more so than some of the flashier wide receivers that have come up in our generation, like the Chad Johnsons or I guess the Ocho Cinco, I should say. Maybe like even Randy Moss, like they had their thing and they were scrutinized heavily, but Odell is getting it from all angles. I mean, fuck, even Lena Dunham has criticized Odell Beckham. If Lena Dunham's criticizing you,
I know, right?
You're down there with like all the feminist causes and shit. Nothing against feminism,
but
right.
Like
it's like that. You don't want to get dissed by Lena Dunham. She's a fool, dude.
But yeah, out there, everyone's trying to tell him to like be like tame and shit. But it's like you gotta like unleash him. I think Eli Manning should worry about not underthrowing him because it's like, dude, if you didn't underthrow that ball, he's in the end zone.
They gotta get it together.
Asshole.
They gotta get it together. But for now, we could say that he's fallen off against, especially after last night with Minnesota and 2 weeks ago with the whole kickers net debacle where he lost a fist fight with a kicking net.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's on the list.
Shit,
it's unfortunate, but
don't worry, guys.
Don't panic.
We'll talk about him in trade play.
Who you should possibly panic about though is Gronkowski.
Okay.
He's been back for 2 games and obviously not 100% healthy. And again, backup quarterbacks hasn't really had a chance to develop chemistry with them since he's been off the field, both in practice and on game day. But at this point, it's just you gotta be worried because you're a month into the season and you've literally gotten like 1 or 2 catches out of Gronk the whole year in 2 games. And there's other tight ends right now that are worth playing on a week-to-week basis. And we're gonna have to discuss what we would do with him at this point because that's a tough one. Gronkowski at his best, fully healthy with a good Tom Brady. There's no one like him, but you can't afford to play him week after week and let someone's no-name tight end beat you in that position.
You can't let Zach Miller outplay Gronk. You can't let Kyle Rudolph outplay Gronk.
Exactly. Sometimes having a good player like an Odell or a Gronk prevents you from getting an up-and-coming player.
And they're so expensive that you can't move them.
Or just someone formidable.
It's hard to trade Odell Beckham because of the asking price.
Yes, and then when he doesn't do as well, people are all of a sudden like, nah, fuck Odell.
Yeah.
But I think what's hurting Odell is no one likes him as a person. What's hurting Gronk is the injury and
the hamstring.
The fact that it's just unpredictable right now up there in New England. But yeah, he's definitely on the list. I think to segue with the tight ends, let's say Delaney Walker, last 2 weeks, he was out 2 weeks ago, and then this last week did not put up a good showing. I think he only had 2 or 3 catches. Still getting the targets, still active in the offense, but it's just not that great of an offense. They're not really making anything happen downfield, and nothing's opening up for him or any of the other receivers. It's just the DeMarco Murray show at this point. So for now, Delaney Walker is a fall-off candidate. Calvin Benjamin, it's hard to say that about a guy who just had double-digit points.
He's
I know
up
he had
and
10
down.
or 11 or 12 points this week.
He got his garbage time touchdown.
2 weeks ago, he played the whole game and had 0 points. So he's on this list.
I like Calvin Benjamin because the Panthers are 1-3, which means that week 15, week 16, they will be playing to win. They will be playing to get into the playoffs. And you got to think that Cam Newton's going to find a way to get into the playoffs. So week 16, expect a full battle.
Yeah,
and that's why I want the Panthers.
Because of that, they could be in a position where they're
1-3.
The defense isn't reliable, so they're going to be in shootouts
cornered,
like they were with Atlanta.
They're cornered, and they're just going to. Calvin Benjamin's just going to get his touchdowns.
But that's the thing.
Greg Olson's going to get his 100 yards.
Okay, they just were in a shootout, Aaron, and Calvin still only put up a mediocre 12 points.
He got his touchdown, though, and he got double digits.
Michael Thomas at this point is doing better than if you go off the last 2 weeks. Michael Thomas is better than Calvin Benjamin.
All I'm saying is that
so he's on the fall off list.
I'm thinking for right now, but I like him in the playoffs.
Fucking
all right.
Dude.
So anyone else? We could talk about Latavius Murray and Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Oakland.
Yeah, I'll point out the ones to talk about.
Crabtree's just kind of just robbing everybody.
Fleener should be mentioned, but
I feel
really
like
not that notable.
He wasn't that big.
So go with the Murray, Cooper, Wallace, Brooks, and Stephon Diggs, and maybe Hopkins, and then Mike Floyd. Talk about the receivers.
With Hopkins, all you gotta say is Will Fuller's just kind of.
Let me just interject and just get this out of the way. C.J. Anderson started off the year real well, but the last 2 weeks hasn't looked the same C.J. Anderson from the 2 weeks prior. Again, I still think he's a good look. I'm not saying bail on the guy, but he's on the list because he's had 2 games in a row where he set a standard for himself to begin the year and hasn't reached those standards. Same thing with Stephon Diggs, but
and Forte, obviously, like you mentioned.
I'm gonna grab this cat. You talk about the receivers.
Amari Cooper and Latavius Murray. We mentioned that Oakland has been fantasy relevant, but that's usually because it's just Derek Carr and Michael Crabtree just going off. But Amari Cooper is a guy we'll talk about later in a trade play or wait. Latavius Murray is a guy that I would definitely want to handcuff, though. And I think Latavius Murray owners should be looking probably for some other options just in case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Latavius has been in just first 2 weeks started off
but
good.
He gets in the end zone.
Points. He's still relevant, but last 2 weeks have not been good. And there's talk that he's not the guy. That's why I got DeAndre Washington. That's why Jalen Richard or whatever his name is. He could be a good look. There's a few others. Stephon Diggs is one I want to talk about because everyone was really hyped on him after the first 2 weeks, especially that game against Green Bay with the 10 catches, 170 yards. But last 2 weeks, very mediocre, not putting up anywhere near the same production. And it's kind of like we mentioned earlier with Kyle Rudolph, it's kind of been more of his show the past couple weeks. That being said, do you bail on Stephon Diggs? I don't know. He's on the list, though, because he's had 2 straight, I can't elaborate enough, 2 straight games where he just hasn't gotten it done, folks. So, Ken, just give me 1 second. One other guy I did want to mention is Derrick Henry. It's mainly because I was really high on him before the year. I think a lot of people were. I don't think I was the only one, But he is just not, even when he's getting in there to spell DeMarco Murray, he's not taking advantage of his carries like a guy
like Spencer Ware
like DeAndre Washington is a better look because DeAndre Washington already has 3 runs over 20 yards this year, whereas Latavius Murray has 0. So when DeAndre Washington gets in, he'll carry. He's being productive. Derrick Henry it's not the same story, and he's got a guy who's just playing lights out ahead of him in DeMarco. So I thought Derrick Henry would be a great look, possible keeper. That's why I gotta say to this point I was dead wrong, and I'm blushing. I'm embarrassed about it. Maybe this changes down the line. Maybe he does get his opportunity with an injury, but at this point, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take an injury for him to be the guy because DeMarco has definitely solidified himself for the time being, and he's done so in a flashy way. Like he's doing well. He's the offense.
Patience.
That's what you keep saying, but it must be noted. Like
it's going to be like probably another month. Dude.
As of now, he's not looking like the guy I thought he could be.
All right, Ken, what's up? You're live.
Those are the guys that are falling off. Go ahead. We got Ken now. Sorry, Ken.
What's up, Ken?
We're wasting your time, I know.
We're about to play a game. We're about to play trade, stay.
No. Ken, maybe you could maybe be on some commentary, we'll do some of this stuff, but I wanted to, first and foremost, I wanted to get your thoughts and kind of just, this is your chance to air out your true feelings about the trade that Jordan just made. I know you commented already on the Facebook page, but you can definitely elaborate more in spoken word form. So you think that Jordan gave up too much? Is that where you stand?
Yeah, I do.
He gave up a lot.
Okay.
It's a running back selling league, and he sold really low on Jamal Charles.
Okay, but he has Todd Gurley now, so. And I think he wants to start Steve Smith. He didn't want to bump Steve Smith to the bench because of Gurley. So I think he was kind of looking at it look, I want to upgrade at receiver, get a more reliable option. Because Jeffrey and Marshall are pretty similar, but I'd still say Marshall's definitely the guy. I know he hasn't been that great to start the year off, but the whole offense has been off. We talked about Forte as a fall-off candidate the past couple weeks, and Fitzpatrick obviously has been shitting the bed. He's got like 9 interceptions his last 2 games, so it's not, they haven't gotten it going yet, but when they do, I think Marshall is much better, more potential than Alshon Jeffrey. So Jordan upgraded at receiver by using his 3rd best running back at this point, and a guy who we don't even know if he's going to come back healthy. So, at first I thought you were pissed that Chuck was trading away a for sure thing for a Chicago Bears player and a guy who's hurt. But then you said, he gave up too much, and it was all right, good, because I was thinking people would be worried that Chuck gave up too much. Because he basically, in my opinion, it's he took a big risk on Charles, because we don't know what he's going to do when he comes back. If he does get back to form and can be a good PPR option, 12 to 15, maybe the occasional 20-point game, then yeah, he definitely wins that trade, and Jordan gave up too much. But I just want to let you know that's where Jordan was coming from. He didn't want to have to make a decision between Jamal Charles, Todd Gurley, and Steve Smith and Macklin each week. And then he ends up benching Macklin and keeps Jeffrey, and Jeffrey puts up a stinker, as you know Jeffrey can do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're actually wanting to go with who's been more consistent, Alshon Jeffrey's been more consistent than Brandon Marshall. He put up 17.5, 14.5, 12, and then 7. So he is going down. He's on a downward trajectory, but at the same time, you look at Brandon Marshall, and he put up a stinker week 1, only 6 points, then 19, and then a stinker again week 3, 5.7, and then a good game, 18.9. But my thing is, you're trading a top tier wide receiver who's going to get a lot of looks in Chicago for a guy who's going to get a lot of looks in New York. And then you just added Charles, who's got major upside. Obviously, you got that whole injury thing to consider. But Jamal Charles, they're gonna ease him back in. Come mid season, I think he's gonna be
Jamal Charles.
Form. Granted, the injury, doesn't happen between now and then. But I kind of like that they limited his snap count and they've worked him back in. And if he does reach his form. That's how you got to view the trade. If Brandon Marshall reaches his full potential, great. If Alshon Jeffrey reaches his full potential for his skill set, great. But then you throw into the mix Jamal Charles, and you got to say, okay, well, if he meets his potential, this is a very one-sided trade.
I guess it's just a matter of perspective on who you think's most likely to reach their potential. And in my opinion, before the season even, we were really high on Brandon Marshall. Not so much on Alshon Jeffrey, and not so much on Jamal Charles. So, like I said, I was worried people were going to think, well, Chuck just gave up a sure thing for 2 iffy things that could be sure things but aren't. Jeffrey, I don't know. His best game is 17. Marshall's already had 2 games better than that. Point total wise, Jeffrey might. I'm not really too good at math, but it's pretty close, And
Jordan just.
We'll see, man.
I feel like Jordan just made this trade to make this trade. And if I were him, I don't like Jeffrey either because I don't like running with the Bears players. But at the same time, you're not going to see me give up Jeffrey and Jamal Charles the week after a win. He hasn't really seen Jamal Charles through. He just, he's kept him around. He just got his backup in Spencer Ware for security purposes, and then he goes and he ships him out. It's it just seemed a little bit rushed.
Right.
You just won. Why are you switching things up?
I guess you could argue, why would he trade Jordan Reed after Jordan Reed's best game, to me, for Todd Gurley and Delaney Walker, who is not really, he's on the falling off list. It's just Jordan has his own way of doing things, and you just got to trust that he knows what he's doing, and even if he does make a mistake, he's going to bounce back. And Chuck desperately does need a look, and it's, again, Chuck isn't getting a guarantee out of this. In a way, neither is Jordan, because Marshall could easily be a fall-off candidate eventually, too. He could hurt his ankle. He had that injury scare a couple weeks ago. But for now, Marshall's upside is more than Charles and Jeffrey's. So it's Jordan didn't improve, and he upgraded a receiver and lost a running back, and Chuck downgraded a receiver and gained a running back. So at the end of the day, you could argue that it's even or it's one-sided for either guy. That's why I like these sort of trades.
Well, also another thing too is he didn't really publicize it. So why did you try to just slip this one through. You know what I mean? And good for Chuck, man. Good for Chuck. I mean, it pisses me off because Chuck's in my division. It makes the division harder. But at the same time, it's like, man, like if it was just going to be a fire sale, you know what I mean? He was just getting rid of Jamal Charles. I would have liked to have, been at the table.
Yeah, been able to make offers and make it a little bit more interesting because the trade could have been better for both parties.
You could have been able to offer Edelman. I know he's people are down on him, but Brady's coming back, so that could change everything with him. But the thing is, Jordan's kind of like me. Like he knows he's gonna go after what he wants, and in his view, it was fair. Just like he thought trading Tom Brady for Steve Smith and Spencer Ware were fair. And Jordan's he's got like this trade ADD sometimes, just like me and Aaron get. I think like Josh Michelson, and I think you get it as well. Like where you just get like this urge. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna make this move, and you kind of look at it like low risk because he can still start a good lineup after the fact. Like I think he's excited about Matt Ryan finally being able to play him every week, and hopefully Matt Ryan can keep it going. Then these trades don't really hurt Jordan so much.
Oh, Matt Ryan plays Denver. And you know what?
Let's see. That's the test,
Bears
man.
play the Colts.
I'm worried for my defense.
The Bears play the Colts, so I think Jordan's going to lose this week to me because he traded Jeffrey away.
Ken, at the end of the day, I don't disagree or agree with you. I think as a commissioner, I try to look at I try to think of so many different perspectives, like every argument you could make. Besides like the actual like personal shit, like I don't know if Alshon Jeffrey's got girl problems. I don't know if Brandon Marshall's looking for a new home. Like I don't know if Jamal Charles is having problems paying taxes. I don't know if he understands it or not. Like I don't know what they're thinking. Like maybe Brandon Marshall is a liberal, and it's like in that case, why would you trade for him? But Jordan is a liberal too, so he's actually a Democrat. But no, like that's the thing. It's just like you look at all these factors as a commissioner, you kind of want to just justify it by it's like, well, any argument can be made. You ultimately got to let these guys do what they want to do. I'm starting to learn, and it's going to work out. Like I vetoed a lot of Jordan trades last year, and he didn't make the playoffs last year, and maybe he would have if I had just let some of his shit go through. So I kind of want to give guys a chance to do their own thing. And as long as it's not really whack, and as long as Aaron doesn't interject at the last second and then trade with one of the teams that is involved in a trade, then I think I'm just going to be, like I said, unless it's really bad. And like draft picks too, I'm actually going to openly say, and I don't want people trading Josh Michelson, any first round picks for fucking Adrian Peterson. Like I am going to veto that shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't care where AP's going to be drafted next year. Get out of here. Josh is not doing that again. But like just back to the point, like I'm going to let people do what they want to do, man.
Yeah, so. I understand that, and if he wants to make a bad trade, he can make a bad trade. More of my anger or whatever you want to call it, I wouldn't say anger, but just I don't know, disappointment comes in that he traded. He loaded a trade that benefited the person in our division. Like, my thing is, this is probably the most controversial trade I think outside of the Tom Brady one that happened.
Well, I honestly think the Jordy Nelson one that I made with Josh.
You have the right all to approve or veto. In that case, when you look at that trade and it's intriguing and you have questions on why one would would trade that for the other, that's when I think you stop. You don't approve it, you don't veto it, but then you throw it on the board and say, this is a trade pending. I need to know people's thoughts. When it's one of those situations where it's not a blank trade, it's like, okay, one of those trades where it's clearly an even trade. No one had any quarrels with, a trade I made with Ben Johnson. That on paper looks like a very solid trade. In those cases, let that go through and approve. If it's not,
but this trade involves 3 high quality players that get drafted round 2, 3. Like all these guys are like high caliber players.
Here's the thing, like it's not Jordan didn't trade Charles after Charles had a 10 or 15 point game.
Like a stinker.
It's just like he did come back. He's on a snap count. Maybe by week 7 or week 8, he's like, I know they're on their bye this week, which is a good thing. They got a chance to see him worked into the mix a little bit, and we'll probably expect to see a lot more of him next week, or not this upcoming week, but the week after. week 6. So maybe you're right, Ken. Maybe it does end up being totally one-sided, but at the same time, what if Jamal Charles doesn't pan out?
And what if Jeffrey continues to suck and Brandon Marshall explodes on Jordan's team? But
understandably, we can't do anything about it now. My only point is, like, if there's another trade that happens like this, and it hits your desk, Mike, before you approve it, a trade of this caliber with these many big names, where it may be one-sided depending on how things play out. I think that's when you stop and you put it on the board. I don't want people to feel like they need to put things on the board and on the Facebook page to make a trade, because there's a lot of trades that get proposed left and right, that no one's heard about, that get declined, and some that get accepted. Like, oh, okay, they made a trade. Well, it's like, I don't want that to stop happening. I like the fact that there's not too many hands in the pot. But when there's a trade where it's like, okay, like you look at it, you're like, some people may have.
Well, I didn't really. That's the thing. Like, I didn't really do that when I saw it. I looked at it and it was like, okay. Because all right, just bear with me, Ken. Like, just assume Jordan didn't make this trade. Okay, so he just got Gurley, which I think was kind of decent. Like, he got Gurley. I know he traded Jordan Reed and Breeze, but if he didn't have Matt Ryan, it would have been a horrible trade for him. But it's like, dude, you can't rock either Breeze or Matt Ryan on your bench when someone's offering you a keeper running back. Anyways, so he's got Gurley, he's got Charles, he's got Le'Veon, he's got Steve Smith, he's got Macklin, he's got Jeffrey, he's got Walker. Out of the three running backs and three receivers, which one would you put on your bench? Like, maybe you're smart and you would wait on Jamal Charles to see if he gets going, and then make a trade for a little bit more. But that being said, maybe Marshall is the truth. But what would you do if you had Charles and Steve Smith and you had to choose between who are you playing confidently after what we saw last week?
If I were Jordan in that situation, first I would have waited. If I do want to wait, I got ADD, I needed a trade, I would have put him on the open market. It is a running back seller's market. Why didn't he assess what else was out there? There could have been better trades that he could have made that could have improved his team and improved the other team equally. I just think that he jumped the gun and took the first offer that he thought of without really assessing the value.
Yeah, because people would have paid a lot for Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall's a nice...
He could have done that too, and, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, Brandon Marshall...
selfishly, I'm upset about it because of the fact it's like...
Whatever, man. Laissez-faire.
I wanted to be at the negotiation table. It's a running back league. I would have taken Jamal Charles.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It would have been cool to negotiate.
Exactly, and if he was really that anxious to make a move, I think the smarter thing for him, and maybe why he didn't make the playoffs last year, is he didn't assess the value in the market, see what other people were willing to
The free
give.
market.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. Like, I wish more people posted trades, but even I haven't said anything on certain trades. Like the Jordan Howard one, I just offered Crowell for Howard, and Evan accepted right away, and I thought it was even. So it's like I want Jordan Howard. It's like I'm not going to put Crowell on the open market. I want specifically Jordan Howard.
That whole five.
I'm a guy who's even with him.
The whole 4-way trade we did last week was crazy. It ended up working out for all the teams. We all went 2-2, and if Forte is indeed falling off, then I'm boned.
So I feel you, Ken. Maybe next time in saying...
maybe I would have felt okay if instead of Brandon Marshall, if it was a name like DeAndre Hopkins, somebody who's maybe not had the greatest couple of weeks, but somebody who is a bona fide keeper, a very talented wide receiver, because they get the added benefit of having Jeffries, more consistent production, and now they have Brian Hoyer, who's probably going to stay in the starting role over Cutler to finish out the year unless something bad happens, from what I've been reading. That would have been something, where you have a higher level name like a DeAndre Hopkins for Charles and Jeffrey.
Because Charles is a keeper. Brandon Marshall could be a keeper depending on their situation, whereas Alshon Jeffrey is kind of a fringe keeper. I know Jordan kept him, but it's like there's a bunch of other guys you'd rather keep than Jeffrey. Whereas Jamal Charles and Brandon Marshall. So anyways, Ken, should we just move on to some fantasy and talk about trades?
We kind of want to do this segment, Ken, and you can be a part of this if you'd like. It's called Trade, Play, or Wait.
Trade.
So I'll name a player, and then you guys tell me what you would do with him at this point. First off, we'll start with Carson Palmer.
Do you trade, play him, or wait? Stash him on the bench. What do you do?
Neither.
Neither. So just drop his ass on the waiver wire?
His ass is on the waiver wire.
Damn. See, I have this other segment called buy or buy, like buy B-U-Y, like buy high, like buy him while you can, while his value's low, or buy. And Palmer's on there, like, do you just drop him? But we decided to go with the trade player wait. So you would drop Carson Palmer. That's interesting because I was thinking the same thing.
I would say wait till the end of the year.
There's people on the waiver wire who are putting up more consistent production right now. I'd drop them and pick somebody else.
I agree with Aaron. I say wait. See if they can get it going. Maybe they put a string of wins together, and it's just like the offense looks great.
It's the same strategy I'm going with the Panthers.
The thing is, like you said,
at the end of the year.
Get a quarterback though, because to wait, you got to have a reliable guy. So.
Oh yeah, I would say wait on him, stash him. He's a big name.
It's tough to find reliable guys, but maybe you do drop him, but at the same time you don't want to drop him. Then he busts off for 30.
You don't think Bruce Arians is going to right the ship?
He doesn't play this week. It's a short week. They're playing on Thursday.
I know.
Yeah, they're going to win this game. They're going to right the ship, and week 16 they'll be playing for a playoff spot, just like the Panthers. So stash your Cardinals.
I say wait because it's not such a bad thing to have a backup quarterback where you don't in case of an injury, in case anything happens.
Moving on.
You don't want to be left with your pants down. Stephon Diggs, do you trade him? Do you play him consistently each week, or do you start benching him based on matchups and wait for him to get back to consistency?
Who do you play this week?
Minnesota has a decent
Giants.
matchup.
Oh, this week upcoming?
Yeah, I forget who, man.
Yeah, dude. I forget who, too.
Minnesota plays I think the Minnesota might play the Eagles.
Nah, the Eagles play the Lions.
Minnesota has a weird matchup. I forget who. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, Stephon Diggs, what are your thoughts?
They play Houston.
Oh.
They play Texans.
Yeah.
Play them.
I don't know. I feel like you play Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, play him.
I say trade him, package him with Carson Palmer.
All right, moving on, dude. What's the next name on the list? Forte. So I already.
You guys still have confidence in Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
All right, Forte. I just got him. I traded early. Do you play? Do you stay? Do you wait?
If you have him, I said you play him. If you're not going to play him, I say trade him. I think he's only going to get more worn down by the end of the year, and I think Bilal Powell's going to eventually take away more of the passing carries.
Yes, I agree. I say trade him.
Trade him?
Trade him before it gets any worse. Next big game he has, either trade him straight up or package him.
All right, Brandon Cooks.
I think it was perfect that he got traded last week. I think that was the perfect time to trade him.
Here's another good one.
I took him too, but it allowed Mike to get Jordan Howard and everyone to get their shit. So
here's another good one. Brandon Cooks had that big week 1, but since then he steadily declined. I think after that it went from 41 to 13 to 9 to 3 this past week.
Trade him.
I say you wait. Because the New Orleans plays Tampa Bay 2 out of the last 3 years, and that's crucial time. I mean, they play Tampa Bay in the championship of fantasy this year, and Tampa Bay is vulnerable against anyone. It don't matter who the fuck is out there.
That's a good point.
The assistant coaches for New Orleans could have a big game that week.
I guess the Saints against Tampa is a juicy matchup.
So I say you wait.
Or you trade him on that fact alone.
But if you do get a juicy offer, let's say someone offered you Amari Cooper for Brandon Cooks right now.
Yes.
Because both guys have underperformed the last 3 weeks.
I'm taking that offer.
You probably want to do that because the next guy we're going to talk about is Amari Cooper and then Latavius Murray. But first, Amari Cooper. I would say you play him. I say play him. You don't want to miss his next big game. It's Amari Cooper. Derek Carr's on fire. Crabtree's not going to be getting 3 touchdowns or 10 targets every game. Eventually, Amari Cooper is going to have a string of games where he's the guy. I'd say you play him. You don't want to miss out on that. What do you think?
Play Amari Cooper.
Play him. We got 2 plays, and you said wait. Can you explain why you say wait? Based on matchups, of course.
I don't know. There's right now he's been okay.
So if you have someone like a Cole Beasley and with a good matchup, do you play him over Amari Cooper?
Every game San Diego's played in has been a very high-scoring game.
Oklahoma.
All right, you play them.
Yeah, they're playing San Diego this week. That's especially this week.
I say trade them, dude.
Play him with confidence, and then if he does have a big game, then maybe you talk about trading him.
I don't know,
but we'll see. So Latavius Murray, what do you think on that, Ken? Let's let him start with this one. Trade, player, wait.
Honestly, I mean, his situation's not great. He continues to lose more and more carries each week. And honestly, like, I'd say trade him if you can, but I don't know if there's going to be any buyers right now. So I think the best thing you can do is play him this week against the Chargers and hope he does well. And if he does
Hope he finds the end zone again.
If he doesn't do shit this week, if he fails to score double digits, is he a drop candidate all of a sudden? Because it's going to be hard to trade Latavius if he doesn't do shit for the third straight week.
I think he's a guy that you kind of just squeeze in with maybe a nice wide receiver to try to just upgrade just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
Ultimately, he is a starting running back as of now. So.
It's a running back, depleted league. So I think anyone would love to at least have him on their bench.
I know Jordan would love to have Latavius Murray.
I'm going to go with trade.
And Jordan would love to have Amari Cooper.
I'm saying trade him now. Do not take the risk of trying to wait and he doesn't do shit and his value decreases. Do not try to play him because even against San Diego, it could be a good look, but that's the thing. We don't know anymore. So if you can trade him.
San Diego's got good cornerbacks.
San Diego does have decent corners. I know you're really high on their corners, but it's not always about two players on the field on the defense.
I'm just saying,
their
dude.
Corners,
like people be sleeping on San Diego.
They're suspect. They're very suspect.
Don't be sleeping on San Diego.
I mean, the one thing I do got to say though about Latavius Murray is he did have a touchdown week 1, week 2, week 3. Week 4, obviously Baltimore's been pretty stingy on the run defense.
He had a touchdown week 3.
His yards per carry isn't terrible. I mean, week 3, Latavius Murray put 3.7 yards per carry. Week 2, 8 rushes for 57 yards. That was over 4 yards a carry. And week 1, he put up over 4 yards a carry, 14 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. I think the issue is just not getting enough volume. So I think if you play him against somebody like a San Diego, where it is going to be a pretty pass-happy, I think there's going to be opportunities for him to get some catches out of the backfield, get some open space, and get some touchdowns. If he produces well out of the gate, which against somebody like San Diego, I think it's possible, I think he'll limit himself from losing some touches throughout the game. He starts off hot. I think a reeling 1-3 Chargers is the perfect team to just ride it and do it. You know what I mean?
Ride it and do it.
For him right now, anyway.
So trade Latavius as quick as possible is what I'm getting from both of you.
He's saying play him.
Really?
Well,
I thought you
get a lot more from that.
Well, I mean,
he's saying against San Diego, it's going to be a high-scoring, high-volume game. He could start off really well. And
I don't know about that.
Going. And even if he doesn't, he should get his looks because there's going to be a lot of.
Although Oakland did play San Diego in the championship last year, where Latavius had like 24 points and won me. Got so drunk that night.
Yeah, he's probably a good look for this week, but I'm saying trade him because
he's a good look this week.
Because he's a good look this week.
Yeah, I feel like long term
you're gonna want to play him after that. If you can get
there's two dudes emerging behind him that I feel like will be worth a stash.
And sell a trade.
Yeah.
Hit somebody up.
Yeah, to the guy who has got
I would trade Latavius Murray for Frank Gore at this point. Like I would.
If you could get away with
that.
If
I had Frank Gore, I'd probably be like, I don't know, man, but maybe I could if I had another running back.
Let's talk about Gronk.
Let's
talk about Gronkowski, your favorite player, Ken.
No, let's save him for last.
No, dude. People have been waiting. People probably Gronk. Let's talk about Gronk.
The big ones were for later, man. You're not following the
script.
Yeah.
It's Ken's favorite player.
Let's go with Gronk then. Aaron thinks he can do this.
Yo, Ken, do you trade him, play him, or wait?
My first question is, what's your value on him right now?
It's hard to say.
He's played 2 games without Tom. Obviously, it needs to be in there without Tom Brady. But in 2 games, like 2 catches, one or 2 catches, so ineffective, invisible out there.
Martellus Bennett is making waves, and he's not.
That's why it's a conundrum. Do you trade him and just take whatever you can, like a Gronk for
do you continue
Travis
to play him
Kelce?
every week?
Do you feel like you can get away with that?
I think the value that you paid for somebody like Gronk, either you kept him or traded for him to start out. I don't know. I think somebody probably obviously had him as keeper,
or someone drafted him in the first round.
He was a keeper.
I don't think
he was a first-round draft pick this year for a lot of teams.
Yeah,
high enough for you to get something back to necessitate trading away somebody that you had as your keeper. So I think the best thing for him is to get somebody on the backup. You may have him on your bench when he busts off that first big game, and that's gonna suck for you, But if you can find a viable backup tight end to place until he has that bust off game, I think once Brady's back, the formations that they're in is going to allow him to get more looks. I think that they've been running a lot more run-heavy, more two wide receiver set formations, and they've also maybe have taken him out on some plays to allow Martellus Bennett to be more of the blocker because they don't have Brady. So they're not necessarily running the schemes and the formations that really benefit a player like Gronkowski right now. As soon as Tom Brady comes back, I think the play calls are going to change, and you're going to see more looks.
And here's the thing, maybe with Garoppolo, it would have been different for Gronk coming back these first 2 weeks, but with Brissett, he's clearly not the natural pocket quarterback like a Brady and maybe even like a Garoppolo. But just to elaborate, even, I'd say you wait, and if he is on your bench that first game, at the very least, you know he's back, you know he's good, you know that you can confidently play him after that. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to trade him right now. It's going to be hard to play him until you know he's back and 100% healthy. So, yeah, I'm in concurrence with both of you in that you wait on Gronk.
Wait, but as far as keepers go, I feel like he's always going to be like a little scary as far as injuries go. But having Gronk, I'm sure, is fun during the high times.
Yeah, let's just talk assuming we're not in a keeper or a standard league. If
you're not in a keeper league, then it's kind of like, wait till he gets going, or maybe try to just get him off your. See if you can see if someone wants to take a chance on him, like a winning team, like a 4-0 team, and they want to take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, if someone offers you
maybe
something juicy, go for it.
Yeah, maybe just take the lesser value to
don't
win.
take less than what he could be worth after a big game.
Right,
because that one big game is gonna pretty much erase all the doubts in a lot of people's minds, even those that he's not on the team of. I don't own him, but if he has one big game, all of a sudden it's like, Gronk, he looks like he's good. He looks back. So
he hasn't had enough time to burn you yet.
Right.
Some people are getting burned by Gronk. It's like, you're an idiot.
Well, you burned me last game, 1 point.
Vercelli's played him the past 2 weeks, and I'm sure a lot of people have, expecting him to just have that big game. But at this point, our expert analysis and our opinions is that you wait for that first big game. Even with Brady coming back, just let's see what they do against Cleveland. And I know Cleveland's really susceptible against tight ends. That being said, you got to see it first, man.
What's up with his hamstring?
They
keep talking about his hamstring, but he keeps playing.
Either way, we're going to move on from Gronk. There's other players here. Gronk's not the end. I know Gronk thinks he's the most important thing in the world. I know he thinks he's the only thing that exists, but that's not the case, Gronk.
I know you don't want to.
So to segue, let's just stick with the Patriots, Ken, and I know this will hit home for you, Julian Edelman. Do you trade player weight?
You play him.
You play him?
Every week.
Because Brady's coming back? Or
Yep.
Okay.
You play him.
I say you play him.
Just start him. I mean, if you drafted him, you got to play him, right?
Julian Edelman, he
returns punts.
He's awesome with Tom Brady. Tom Brady, that's his boy.
For Tom to come back, he had a bad game. He's up. So even if Tom wasn't coming back, most players look to reel back from a bad game. You don't see many wide receivers. Like you saw with Brandon Marshall, he put up 5 points, then he put up 20, then it's 6 points, then 20. You don't usually see 5, 5, 5. You know what I'm saying?
He should be able to, the type of routes he runs, he should be able to find success against the Cleveland Browns. I think Cleveland's better downfield against the pass, but they're going to be susceptible to those short flat plays, and those, like, Brady's going to be mechanical out there, and that just bodes well for Edelman because that is Brady's most trusted asset at this point. And the thing I do worry about, though, is the injury. I don't know if he's banged up, why he hasn't been playing very well. He just doesn't look like the same shifty guy. But, again, I'm with you guys that Brady's back, and I think Gronk is more of a question mark at this point than Edelman. Because the thing is, Martellus Bennett's playing well. If Martellus Bennett wasn't there, then it'd be different. But they could easily just say, you know what, Gronk? Yeah, there's no reason to throw to you and get your fantasy stats. Martellus Bennett is sufficient enough. We need you for the postseason.
Right.
Whereas Edelman does need to be a big part of that offense to succeed.
We should talk about Martellus Bennett when we finish up with Julian Edelman.
The slot receiver in that offense is just as important as the tight end. Yeah.
What's up? Yes, please.
So we'll finish this.
So
segment.
Ken, so what do you do? So you play Julian Edelman? You said you play him.
Played.
All right, let's talk about Martellus Bennett then. Do you play him or do you trade him away? There is no wait. There is you either play him or trade him.
I don't think he's going to have much trade value because of Gronk, and I think you just play him out until
maybe just ride or die, because I feel like the upside's there. The two tight end set is actually going to be really dope for the Patriots.
I say you play him.
Play him every week.
I say you play him until Gronk is the clear guy.
Who wants Zach Miller?
For all we know.
Gronk gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and then you still play him or you trade him.
So he's all three depending on your situation. But I think you can reliably play him. He's had 2 big games, which can't really be said for most tight ends. And even when he doesn't have a good game, some guys are just happy to get anything out of a tight end. But with in that offense with Brady coming back with the question mark surrounding Gronk, yeah, Martellus Bennett's a good look. And a good look to trade for, and a good look to wait. Maybe Gronk gets hurt again. So that's why I didn't put him on this list, because it's kind of like, these are ones that have like...
They're enigmatic.
That's a tough one, but it's like, I don't know, I just didn't put him on here. He's on the buy or buy. Yeah, he just came out of nowhere. I wanted to ask about Eddie Lacy. Do you trade, play, or wait?
Well, obviously, I think with if you're going to go specific, not just talking about Eddie Lacy, if we're going to go specific to the, big money just time league, with what Chuck's got on his team, I think you could trade him if he gets a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, just look at it from more like a general fantasy perspective, not like anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like expert opinion.
Eddie Lacy, I say you play him. Get a week off. Hopefully he spent that week with doing P90X.
Okay, cool. Just real quick responses here. I say you wait because you wait for the cold weather. You wait and see what happens. We can bring him back up later in the year. Maybe he becomes a drop candidate. Maybe he becomes a play. But for now, you wait because you can't reliably start Eddie Lacy on any given week, even with a good matchup.
I say you play him.
He's not worth it.
He's a 100-yard game.
Right, but he's still... Well, how many points did he have that game? 13? Like, you can get more from a PPR guy any given week. Like, a Duke Johnson can get you more than that any given week. And he had 11. Duke Johnson had 11 this last week. He should have had 14, but it was a questionable fumble. Well, actually, no. It should have been 12, but they said he didn't recover it either way. So, yeah, what's your call, Aaron?
On who?
Eddie Lacy, man. He thinks play. I say wait.
I say trade him to the Packer fan in your league.
Yeah, there you go. Take it, trade him while you can.
Trade him to the Packer fan who likes him.
I say it might be beneficial to wait and see what happens later on in the year. Maybe they
Lacy's
get
cool,
more of a run game.
But I'd rather have James Starks when Lacy goes down. That's my opinion.
Right. Okay, let's go on. I was going to say Jonathan Stewart, but fuck that. Let's say Devontae Parker. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, dude, you wait or drop him. I don't know.
Trade, play, or wait?
Who's going to want him? No one's going to want Devontae Parker.
Well, just think if I had Devontae Parker, I would have been able to trade Devontae Parker.
Dude, I meant to say play for Mari Cooper. That was a brain fart.
That's the thing. Does Devontae Parker? He's an interesting one. Does he have high upside? Do you trade him after while you can? Do you wait till the big game? Can you play him, or do you just? That's what I'm saying. Do you wait for the big game then trade him, or do you play him after that big game? He's already had an 100-yard game, but yeah, he's also been.
I say you wait, and I don't know. Probably, maybe not this year, maybe next year. Jarvis Landry's the guy.
I say wait, and next big game he has, try to trade him with another player for just any receiver, man. Just get a receiver. Get someone who's not doing so well at the time and who's actually, maybe a Jeremy Maclin. Maybe if Maclin only puts up, another 12. He's on a bye week. Maybe next week, week 6, he puts up a 12-point game. Yeah, but he hasn't busted yet.
Just the Chiefs fuck you, man.
He hasn't busted yet. So you package him with another guy to get a guy that will bust eventually. Okay, so Delaney Walker, trade, play, or wait?
That's tough. Trade. You got to package him with somebody else.
Yeah.
There's not many tight ends that really produce consistently, and I think somebody like Delaney, you could sell that he'll get it going. They're just in a little bit of a funk right now offensively. And once they get to some easier teams in their schedule, I think he'll have a kind of a coming out party.
Yeah, I say play him because it's a tight end, and I think the problem with Delaney is we expect him to do well. So when he doesn't, it stings a little bit more because he had a really good year last year, and the fact that he's not replicating that success is disappointing to everyone that owns him. But at the same time, it is a tight end, and all it takes is a few good games for his value to just skyrocket. So at that point, maybe you trade him. But again, if he does have a couple of good games, it's I got a tight end. He's having good games. I don't need to trade him.
Right.
I'm not going to get anything better.
I say
that makes sense. So I say play him.
Tight end's a crapshoot position. play him every week. You don't want to see his nut week on your bench.
Yeah, I say play. Even though I just traded him, but from an expert's point of view, it's like
drafted him.
You wait on Delaney, and then maybe if he or you play him, and then
the offense won't funnel through DeMarco forever.
But
the offense won't funnel through DeMarco forever. So he's the only fantasy
My thing is, it's
going
to be hard to trade him now because he hasn't really done much, and there's sour taste in people's mouths.
No one likes Delaney.
At the very least, you play him, you get his points. If he does good,
you better not nut on Jordan's team.
Okay, so last one, then we're going to go down and get food, Ken. We might call you back, or we might just continue on without you. But last one I want to talk about is Michael Floyd. What do you do with that motherfucker right now?
No one's going to want to trade for him.
I think you just wait.
I say you wait too. He's a second half guy. He's been this way for like 2 years in a row. He sucks, and then everyone's like, nah, I don't want to play him, or he gets dropped. You can never trade him, but then he quietly has good games later in the year, second half especially, and it's just like, oh fuck, Michael Floyd just put up 19 on me. What the fuck? That's happened to me before, but I think I still won last year because of that. But I remember Michael Floyd had a good game, and I was not expecting it at all. It was like, Jesus, Michael Floyd had a good game.
Yeah, you can add someone to the list.
It was one of those games I thought I was going to lose, but then Julio had like 40 or something.
Yeah, I say you wait on him.
Wait. So, yeah, there's a lot more guys we could have talked about, but that's pretty much our trade play wait segment.
Ken's going to add one more player.
Okay, go ahead,
Just
Ken.
Real quick, Ken. I think what you were about to say was on the list anyways.
Terrence West.
Yeah, he was actually on the list.
I
That's
say
so funny.
Trade
He's
him
on the list.
I say trade him while he's hot, dude. Because I think Kenneth Dixon might be the guy that they want to eventually become the guy.
Trade him while he's hot.
But if you can have both those guys, then you can play them and maybe ride the hot hand. But I feel like the running back situation in Baltimore has been crap ever since Ray Rice left the situation.
Yeah.
So
I think
trade.
so high on him. He put up he put up a 100-point, 100-yard, one touchdown game, and then I think with the news that they just, released Justin Forsett, I think you have some things in your favor. I think you trade high on him.
Yeah, trade high on him. I was going to trade Martellus Bennett.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to change mine to play this week. I'm saying play this week. I think they have a good matchup this week. I think it's like Cleveland or something.
This is a bye week, so ride the hot hand if you got it.
Yeah. I say play him this week and
maybe eventually
trade him.
Hopefully he does good again.
Definitely don't wait. Definitely don't wait because his value will only go down from here. The last guy, this is the guy I missed. It's Randall Cobb. This is a guy like he should be talked about because he's on the Packers. You kind of expect him to be like a Snap City regular, like
he's
visiting
a slot
that
receiver. I don't know. He's like a 19-point kind of guy. Wait, I say trade him to the Packers fan in your league.
This is a tough one, man. So you don't think play him like
the only
unless it's a great matchup.
The only Packers I want are Jordy Nelson and Rodgers, and maybe their defense.
Fuck, dude.
Maybe their defense.
I don't know.
He's like Alan Hearns for me.
Yeah, dude, it's just kind of like disappointing, dude. So find the Packer fan in your league and be like, hey, dude, do you like Randall Cobb? And he'll probably be like,
My answer was wait until he has a 20, 25-point game and then trade him because I don't know if he'll replicate that.
I don't know, man. Maybe Rodgers is.
You're not gonna be able to trade him for much now, so like then you can argue like, oh look, he's back. He's had his big game.
We'll see that Packer
They're getting it together, so trade him. Try to improve. All right, yeah, that's that segment, Ken. I'd like to thank you for giving us your opinion on this stuff. We're gonna make you a regular on the show. I'll probably call you just some random nights while I'm doing a video and we can talk. But as always, dude, you're a fucking pleasure.
Thanks, dudes. 4-0 bitches.
That's right, dude. You're right now number 1 in the power rankings.
All right.
He hung up. He didn't hear me say that. So yeah, man, we could close it out here and maybe pick it back up with the second half of our segment tonight. This is part A. We got part B coming up for you folks. We're probably gonna go eat some spaghetti, maybe some potato chips as well. But for now, you'll see us in a little bit here. Hopefully we'll be back. We'll probably smoke one too, maybe.
Probably definitely gonna.
I'm talking about peace pipes, not anything illegal. Actually, I'm talking about crack. Oh my